Hi friends, my name is Viraf Mehta. I am a sitting trustee at the Bombay Parsi Panchayat and I am standing before you once again for the 2022 elections. The reason for me to address you like this is because there's a lot that is being said, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of misinformation, and I want to spend a few minutes in trying to clear the air on a few of those topics. The first thing I want to talk about is this preconceived notion that we have only been selling flats. One of the topics I want to address is this preconceived notion that we are only selling flats and not giving any for free. Let me tell you that this board since October 2015 has given 232 flats for free. That's correct, 232 flats have been given for free. 90 of those flats have been given to the young married couples who are on our married list. Against 232 flats given for free, we have only auctioned 28 flats. That is correct. Only 28 flats have been auctioned in the last 6.5 years. 14 from the Wadia Bags, 14 from the BPP colonies. That means out of the 260 flats that this board has allotted, only 28 flats have been auctioned. That's a little over 10%. Did you know that the BPP has 4,400 flats? 28 flats out of 4,400 is not even 1%. It is 0.6% of the flats that we have auctioned. You have to understand that this was done for a reason. Ask yourselves, from October 2020, what project has the BPP undertaken to generate revenue apart from the auction of flats? There has been none. Ask yourselves, from October 2015 till date, what project has the BPP undertaken to generate an alternate means of revenue? There has been none. In the last 2 years, under the chairmanship of Mrs. Tirandas, this board has managed to raise 55 crore rupees through the auction of only 28 flats. It's very idealistic to tell people that we should not auction flats and we should only give flats for free. We would all like to do that. But if you stop the auction of flats today, where is the revenue going to get generated for the BPP? Is there a plan B? Is there a plan C? There is none. So ask yourselves, have we done something wrong? If we've auctioned 28 flats to raise 55 crore rupees in the span of 6.5 years, can we be faulted? 28 flats is 0.6% of the 4,400 flats that the BPP has. 0.6% of the flats have been auctioned to raise 55 crore rupees. You have to understand these facts and figures. 232 flats given for free. 28 flats auctioned, 55 crore rupees raised. This has all been done in the last 2 years under Mrs. Tirandas' chairmanship. Ask yourselves again, what did the 4 majority trustees do from October 2015 till 2020? Today, during election campaigns, I am told the other side is talking about the Godrej Bagh ownership building, which will bring about 200 crore rupees. It's the lowest hanging fruit. Yes, it is the lowest hanging fruit for everyone. But what they will not tell you is that that lowest hanging fruit cannot be monetized for another 1 year at least. Because as per RERA, you cannot accept deposits on that ownership building until you get your IOD and your CC in hand. And as per our architect, that is at least another 9 to 12 months away. So how is the BPP going to survive from June 2022 till June 2023? Do you know the fixed cost of the BPP, the fixed running cost of the BPP is almost 24 crore rupees. That's correct, 24 crore rupees. Out of that, about 14 crore rupees is just staff salary. 70% of this salary goes to just your class 4 workers, your malis, your sweepers, etc. 3 to 4 crore rupees goes towards Dungarwadi. 1 to 2 crore rupees goes towards your Parak Dharamshala. Second child is about 1 crore a year. We've broken up these figures for you and we have printed this in the Parsi Junction. Please do take a look. Now 24 crore rupees over the span of 6 years is almost 150 crore rupees of just fixed cost. What is the BPP doing, or what has it done to generate revenue? Do you know we only get 6 crore rupees a year in rent and about 7 crore rupees in interest on our corpus? And given the falling interest rate, even those numbers are coming off. It used to be 9 crores a year interest. Now it is 7 crores a year interest on the corpus. There's a shortfall of about 10 crore rupees a year for the BPP, which means that is 60 crore rupees shortfall over the last 6 years. Ask yourselves, from October 2015 till 2020, what did the majority trustees do? They were so busy in infighting and pampering each other's egos and settling past scores that the community, the trust, the beneficiaries have suffered. The last 2 years, Mrs. Tirandas, Mr. Dastoor and myself have worked hard to ensure the BPP does not go under. The auctioning of 28 flats is not to be looked at that, oh my God, we are selling flats only to the rich. It is only the high value flats that we are auctioning. And why not? If there was a plan B, we might not have had to do this. But the plan B, which everybody is talking about, can only come into fruition in at least 12 months, not before that. Now let me take you through what the next 5 years has in store for us. We've spoken of the Godrej Bagh ownership building, which we can start generating revenue from in about a year's time. We have the ownership building in Navsari, the Bamji Sanitarium, in which about 15 crore rupees should come to the BPP. But that also is about 6 months away until we get clarity and clearance from the Charity Commissioner. But what else is there? The Navroz Bagh redevelopment project, which was stalled for years, is now once again back in the forefront and being reconsidered to be restarted. But more so, did you know that there was a ready-made project in hand to redevelop Dhanbai Wadi at Ville Parle? Rohinton Mehta had given a plan to the Bombay Parsi Panchayat over 10 years ago to redevelop Dhanbai Wadi. Cost of construction, his. Cost of money needed for the BMC for permission, his. Cost to the BPP, zero. And yet that project was stalled because Mr. Rohinton Mehta was considered to be a friend of one trustee, so the other trustee said no. Be that as it may, from 2015 till 2020, Mrs. Tirandas, myself and even Mr. Dastoor kept telling the then majority that there is a ready-made plan waiting to be executed. All we need to do is put an ad out in the papers and ask for tenders. Unfortunately, because the idea came from us, it was put on the back burner, and even today Dhanbai Wadi remains the way it was 10 years ago. Palmlands at NC Bagh is another low-hanging fruit. Years ago, the redevelopment plans between the trustees and the residents of Palmlands fell through. But a few years ago, pre-COVID, they reached out to Mr. Mehta and myself, and we had a meeting in which they said that it's about time that we took this forward. They were getting old, their buildings were getting older, and they were willing to work with the BPP and come out with a proposal that is beneficial to both sides. I went back and reported this to the board that here is a huge plot of land in Mahim which we can redevelop, we can build inventory for the people on our waiting list, we can generate revenue for the BPP. But do you know what answer I got? Why did you go and meet them without us? Why did you go meet them alone first? Fine, we will look at it at a later date, and that's where the plan was left. Unfortunately, every proposal brought before the board that came from us has not been taken into consideration because the idea was ours. It is ridiculous that we sit in the boardroom of the 7 BPP trustees and we act so immaturely. I think it's about time that we start to look at the bigger picture and we look at how we can take things forward. Panthaki Bagh, Bharucha Bagh, again projects waiting to kick off. But unless we work together, everything is going to get stalled. Post-COVID, Ever since Mrs. Tirandas became the chairman of BPP, we have not been able to take anything forward. Yes, there have been 2 COVID lockdowns, but there has been zero support from my colleagues on the other side who keep blaming us as the majority and themselves as the minority. We are a board of BPP trustees. There should be no majority minority. We have one goal and one goal only: to work for the beneficiaries and for the trust. That is what is missing, and that is why today we stand as a group of 5. Let me tell you, when you sit in the minority, it's very difficult to get things done. So much so that in 2016, Mrs. Tirandas and myself were denied access to any documents of the BPP. We were not given housing case files. We were not given legal case files. We were not shown minutes of the meeting. We were not even shown our very own BPP bank records. Finally, in 2017, we moved the Bombay High Court, and it was Justice Kathawala who ensured that all trustees had equal right to all information of the BPP. So much so, he ensured that every BPP meeting is now audio and video recorded. That stands from 2017 till date and will stand till posterity. To ensure our rights as trustees, Mrs. Tirandas and myself paid our own legal fees, but the majority trustees thought it fit to give their legal bill to the BPP and made the BPP spend 70 lakh rupees of charitable funds. 40 lakh rupees went to one senior counsel who was charging them 9 lakh rupees a hearing. 9 lakh rupees a hearing. 40 lakh rupees to one senior counsel. That's how the majority misused the funds of the BPP, public charitable funds. Luckily, in the new scheme of elections, under Justice Kathawala and Justice Jadhav, we have ensured that any interstate trustee dispute, the legal fees are paid for by the trustees themselves. And only after going to a judge in chamber would the BPP then be allowed to pay either or both sides of the fees. For that, once again, we would like to thank Justice Kathawala and Justice Jadhav. Friends, it's very important when you come out to vote on May 29th, you vote judiciously. You have to vote for trustees who do not instill fear amongst the beneficiaries. You have to vote for trustees who talk with respect. Everyone knows I am the son of the ex-chairman of the Bombay Parsi Panchayat, Mr. Mehta. Over the last 6.5 years, my father has been mocked, ridiculed and insulted. So much so they've not even spared the women in my family. My mother has been imitated and mocked by a certain trustee so many times. My brother was beaten up. My personal life was splashed all over social media. That told me one thing and one thing only. They had nothing to hit me on principle and policy, and which is why they had to hit me by going this low. But every time they went low, I went high. We proved them wrong every single time, and with policy after policy, we were able to show the community what we were able to do. I have become thick-skinned after all of these attacks and abuses, and I can take it. But what really irritates me is the way my chairman, your chairman, Mrs. Tirandas, has been spoken to by this same individual trustee. She has been berated and ridiculed and mocked, and I do not think anybody, especially the lady of the Bombay Parsi Panchayat, who is almost 3 decades older than me, it is ridiculous how she is being spoken to. Beneficiaries are insulted. When women have come to the boardroom, they have been mocked. A lot of people seeing this video will know what I am talking about. The arrogance with which one person speaks is not the behavior of a trustee. The staff are scared because their phones are being taken, their call logs are being checked, their messages are being checked. Who did you speak to? Have you spoken to Viraf? Who did you message? Is this how a trustee is supposed to behave? Enough of living in fear. Enough. Beneficiaries are being blackmailed. You're a licensee. You will come to have the licensee renewed, right? You come. When you come for renewal, you will see what we do. I have spoken to individuals who are scared. I've heard the crack in their voice and they're like, Viraf, we are middle class, middle-aged people. We have a wife and kids. If something happens, where will we go? We don't have the money power to fight in court. If we are thrown out on the roads, where will we live? Where will my daughters go? I actually once told somebody, do not do anything stupid. Because I could sense it in their voice that there was that fear. We have to stop that. A recent incident was where some Parsi was taken to a police station and he got a call from one trustee who said, you're a licensee, come for renewal and you see what we do. Why should that be allowed? Why should any trustee have a right to talk to any beneficiary like that? This is precisely why, for the first time in the history of the Bombay Parsi Panchayat, has this board gone ahead and passed a resolution to convert all legitimate leave-in licensees to tenancy. We didn't just do this overnight. This item has been on the agenda for almost a year and a half. It has been discussed for almost 10 years now. Over and over and over again, people have been coming and making these promises, but nobody has actually been able to fulfill them. But we have. In February of 2022, we passed a resolution after getting a written legal opinion from Mullah and Mullah, the very legal firm that represents the BPP. We got another legal opinion from DSK Legal. Both of these written legal opinions tell us and give the trustees the right to convert a leave-in license into tenancy. We have also gone ahead and gotten a written opinion from our tax auditors that says yes, there is no tax liability on the BPP if we convert leave-in licenses to tenancy. The licensees which have been given after receiving a deposit, for that we are awaiting guidelines from a very senior tax consultant that will show us the way forward. Once we get to do that, we will actually be able to reduce the liability of the BPP, as these deposits stand as a liability on our books. That is step 2. But the step 1 and the most important step is to protect you, the beneficiaries, so that you don't have to live under fear and you are protected by the Rent Act. And ask yourselves, why not? Did you know that 80 to 85% of the Vadia bags are tenants? Only 15 to 20% are licensees. But if you take the entire 4,400 flats of the BPP, only 60% of them are tenants and 40% of them are licensees. Why this disparity? Why should everybody not be treated equally? Ask yourselves, why should everybody not be given a right to encash their tenancy? By doing so, an outgoing tenant gets to get a little bit of money, the Panchayat gets to increase its revenue, and you also give a chance to a third family to come into the BPP and start their life. 3 people benefit. Would I rather do that, or would I rather file a case and fight these people in court? Ask yourselves. I'll come back to the same thing again. Ask yourselves, if by auctioning 28 flats I have raised 55 crore rupees, when there is no other means of revenue, am I wrong? Have I done something wrong? Why are some people pointing a finger and saying you must give all flats for free? But when a flat is encumbered by somebody who wants to leave but is not leaving because he's not being compensated, would I fight him in court for 20 years or would I rather find a via media? Mrs. Tirandas shared a very interesting point with us the other day, that in her 13 years as a trustee, barely 4 to 5 flats have been returned for free. Let us be practical. Everybody can sit and be absolutely idealistic, but we have to be practical today. If I can resolve a case, why not? Do you know we have sent 200 legal notices on locked flats? We filed 65 cases, but we've only got back 13 of those flats, 7 or 8 of which we've actually had to pay compensation towards. Where do we pay the compensation money from if I have no revenue? I have a shortfall of 10 crore rupees a year. What is helping me bridge that gap? At the current moment, only the auctioning of flats. When our redevelopment kicks off, we can consider alternate means. But till such time, do not believe these fairy tale stories being given. We are being practical. We have shown you as a group of three what Mrs. Tirandaz, Mr. Dastur and myself have been able to do in the last 2 years. I have just explained and told you what we can do in the next 5 years. We have 5 projects waiting to get kicked off. 5. But we need to work together. Not point a finger and say, oh, because it's your idea, we will not take it forward. They didn't allow the redevelopment of Dhanbaiwadi to be fructified. They didn't allow us to take forward the redevelopment of palmlands. They stopped the BPP review, which was being printed and published for free for the BPP because he was someone known to me. More so, they disbanded Zing. Zing, the world's largest Parsi Irani youth group with over 5,000 members. It was started in 2009. It was started as the youth wing of the BPP. We were a committee of 40 individuals. No chairman, vice chairman, nothing. One treasurer, one person for PR and that's it. And we worked seamlessly. Despite of who we might have supported on a political front, we always came together as a committee and worked towards one simple goal: the future of our generation. Today, 55% of Parsis live outside colonies. Today, 45% of marriages within our community are mixed marriages. Zing was not a political platform, it was not a religious platform. It was simply a social platform to allow Parsi Irani boys and girls to meet. But I was one of the co-founders of Zing. Some excuse or the other was constantly made, and finally about 4 years ago, Zing was disbanded from the BPP. Who lost in that? The trustees made a decision, went home, went to sleep. But the youth group suffered, our youth suffered. But I'm proud to say that me and Pearl together have restarted Zing, and we have a new committee in place and they are doing brilliantly. We actually had 2 online speed datings where we had individuals logging in from California, Europe, India, even Australia, and 10 married couples came out of that. An initiative done by the youth voluntarily, but it was politicized and disbanded. But we won't let such people stop us from doing the hard work that we want to do. I'm going to come back to what I had said in the beginning. When you come out to vote on May 29th, please vote for all 5 of us. I have seen firsthand that sitting in the minority, you cannot get anything done. In 2015, I came with great dreams, visions and plans, but they were all shot down. I have seen in the last few weeks, the 5 of us sitting and working together and having our meetings together. Our mindsets are aligned, our vision is aligned. Chairman Mrs. Armaiki Tirandaz, Mrs. Maruk Noble, Mr. Xerxes Dastur, Mr. Rumi Zarir and myself. We are candidate numbers 3, 10, 11, 13 and 14. Please come and vote for us together as a group. We do not want trustees who put dissent notes in newspapers and have auctions fail. We do not want trustees who go to the election commissioner and complain about the conversion of leave and license to tenancy and puts a stay on it. We do not want trustees who go and disband the youth group. We do not want trustees who do not let us take forward redevelopment plans because the idea came from somebody else. We are a group of 5 individuals who are independent in our thinking but like-minded in our behavior and our attitude for the community. Please, I implore you, come out to vote on May 29th and vote judiciously. Thank you very much.